Hi, Bill Bronchick here, and I'm talking with my good friend, colleague, and mega superstar Sub2 expert, William Tingle. Hey, William, how are you?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. You're too kind, Bill. You don't tell everybody that I learned a lot of what I know from you 25
Oh,
years ago.
I stole most of my good stuff from you, so that's fair game, right?
That's
So William and I, as you may know, are doing a Subject2 Summit or Sub2 Summit, and you can sign up at sub2summit.com in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, at the end of September. It's a 3-day event, but I encourage you to stay longer. It's a wonderful resort in the Marriott on the ocean, and it's right by the marina where you can rent a boat and go fishing and whale watching, and this great nightlife and restaurants and beach, and it's golf course is just a wonderful place and a wonderful experience. But to the meat of it, we're going to be talking, both basic and some high level stuff on Subject2 deals. And William, I know you've done a ton, and I've done a ton, and we've coached a lot of people to do it. What are you seeing now in the market? Is this a good time in the market to be doing Subject2 deals?
Yeah, Bill, it's a fantastic time to do Sub2. As you know, because you've been doing this for, I think, over 30 years. I've been doing it for about 25. And I haven't found a bad time yet to do Sub2 deals. When the market gets worse, it's even better because people need to sell. And we moved here to Arkansas about 1.5 years ago in a super hot market. Everybody told me, you can't buy anything. And we had one of our best years ever last year.
Wow.
And almost all of them were taking over payments. So
taking over payments. So for those of you who just joining in, you don't understand what Sub2 means or Subject2. It means basically buying someone's house and not assuming, but just taking subject to their mortgage and paying it instead of them paying it. And guess what? In most cases, and vast majority, almost all of them, the bank's going to take the payments and say, thank you very much, and not say a word. It's not illegal, of course. It's just there's a potential risk, a theoretical more like risk. The lender could, balk at that. But, my experience in 32 years as an attorney and investor, I've seen it only happen maybe 0.01% of the time, which considering all the risks in real estate, that's a pretty low one. What about you, William?
Yeah, that's a fact. In 25 years and 800 plus Sub2s, I've never had a loan call due. And I think there's some keys to that, handling some things properly. But, they take the payments. You send it in, they cash the check or take the wire, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And I said, there are risks in real estate. There are lots of risks. This is just not one on the high priority of risks. I've had all kinds of crazy things happen. I'm sure you have too, to your properties. And, this is just talking about risk versus reward. It's not even, it's a no-brainer in terms of a decision to buy a property Subject2, especially because we're talking about the opportunity for taking over properties, the vast majority of which are under 4%. Many of them are under 3%. Interest rate in a market where interest rates are in the 6s and 7s for investors.
Sure.
So it's kind of a no-brainer. And you're not liable on the loan personally to the bank because you didn't sign the original note. And usually the seller is willing to give up the property for pennies on his equity or sometimes no money down. What's the alternative, William? I mean, you got to put 20% or more down, go qualify for a loan, be on the hook for 30 years at 7.5% interest. I mean,
right.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I know. You and I were talking earlier about a rehab that we just sold this past week. It was a Sub2 deal. We sold the house for $215. We put about 30 into it, but the seller took $10,000 in cash and walked away and left us with, $100,000 mortgage balance.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. So, he sold for, literally, 50, 60 cents on the dollar. But he was moving out of the country and he didn't care and didn't have the $30,000 to put into the house. So we were torn between keeping it because the interest rate was 3.75. The payment on this house was $750 a month. PIT, I didn't rent for $1,600. But
wow,
yeah,
that's a tough decision.
It is.
Cash out your equity and get a lot of money, or get a lot of cash flow. That's a good problem to have, right?
Absolutely.
And we're going to show you how to do deals like that at our Sub2 Summit in September of 2024 in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And seats are selling out fast, by the way. This is going to be sold out. We're limiting it to about 40 people. And a lot of couples are coming. Of course, you should come, bring your significant other or your spouse, bring your kids and your family. we'll talk about how you can write off most of this, stay a few extra days and enjoy yourself. It's just a wonderful experience. And, what's great about this is that people can ask me, like, are you going to stream this? Are you going to record it? Can I watch the replay? And the answer is no, 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 and no. You got to come for a number of reasons. One, where am I going to find a cameraman in Mexico? And number two, hey, we want to be free to say what we want to say, that we might not want to say on camera, not that it's going to be illegal or anything or unethical, but, it's always a little better when you don't have the camera rolling and you share a few secrets of the trade that you wouldn't normally put in writing or in a blog or on a video, So, I love Subject-to deals. And I know as an attorney, I close them for clients as well, not only my own deals. And I'm seeing a lot more of these lately, because you got a lot of sellers who have 3% loans and they don't want to drop their price. They've got to, in some cases, when they've got high-end homes, but they're willing to do something creative because it allows the seller to get more, overall for their property, and the buyer's willing to pay more if they'll work it out a deal with the seller where the seller let them take advantage of that 3% mortgage. So even brokers, I'm starting to really see open up about this. A lot more than they used to. A lot of brokers, you say, no, that's illegal. No, you can't do that. And now brokers are coming to me left and right saying, show me how to do this deal. Let's get it closed.
Yeah. Well, it's been a while, and especially you deal with agents today, and a lot of agents have only been in the market for the last few years when things have been hot as they could be. A lot of them don't even know what creative finance is, but they're learning.
Right. And this was very common in the late 70s, early 80s when we had like 14% interest rates.
Oh yeah.
So people used to take subject to 5%, 4% loans and do all kinds of creative things. So the ones who were around that long, not many of them are alive anymore, but but the ones that know about that. So, I remember when we used to do that when times were tough, and times are getting tough for sellers. So it's not the market isn't what it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. Yeah, I'll tell you the great thing about buying Sub2 right now in this market too, with interest rates being 6.5%, 7.5%, you can buy a house with very little equity and wrap that note and still make really good cash flow. Yeah,
absolutely. I like that. And especially people who have, little or no equity, which is a lot of people who buy with VA loans. They don't put any money down.
Right.
So they don't expect a lot back. And those are real easy to get subject to. And, in terms of their equity, we'll teach you ways to do that. People who have a $500,000 house and they only owe $300,000, I'm not going to pay them $200,000 to take his property over.
Right.
I'll pay them something, or there's multiple ways to do that. We'll talk about at the summit. I don't want to spill the beans too much on those strategies, but there's plenty of ways to do that. And there's so many back-end strategies. You can buy and flip like you did. You could buy and rent. You could buy it and resell it with owner financing, what we call a wrap. There's just so many ways to do the deal. And we'll be talking about that for 3 days. And by the way, we're not interrupting your pool and your beach time. It's going to be from noon to about 7 each day. So you have plenty of time. But come early, stay late, whatever. Make it a week-long thing. Have a lot of fun at sub2summit.com. And do register early. It is going to sell out. We're limited to about 40 people. And I haven't checked recently, but we got a lot of early registration.
Oh, yeah. For sure. And you didn't even mention how cheap it is. I mean, this is super inexpensive.
Super cheap. Yeah, we had to be out of our minds for $497.
That's right.
For this event. That's like so cheap. And a few people ask me, does that include the room? Room service too and free drinks. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, you got to pay for your own room. We have reserved the block of rooms, but again, those are getting eaten up fast and they expire August, I think 23rd, that block will expire. So make sure you reserve before that. And when you register, we'll email you instructions on how to call or do it online to reserve that room to make sure you have one. Otherwise, you got to go stay at a cruddy hotel down the block and walk down. And, you don't want to do that.
and it's a great rate on a room at that resort too.
Yeah. It's a high class, first class Marriott hotel right on the ocean, and it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it is.
One of my favorite hotels to stay at there.
Yeah, I'm excited. This will be my first time there, so we're really looking forward to it.
You'll enjoy it. It's a wonderful thing. The great thing about it is, like, if those of you who have ever been to Mexico, it's always like a 45-minute ride from the airport to the hotel. This is 5 minutes from the airport.
That's great.
So, which is great because when you're coming back, you can go at the last minute and 5-minute ride to the airport and catch your plane. It's great. So highly recommend you sign up. It's I believe it's the third weekend in September. You can go to sub2summit.com and get more information. And it's just going to be a really exciting event. I'm really looking forward to this, both from an educational standpoint, but also just meeting and schmoozing with other people and learning what they're doing too. I don't know about you, but I always learn something new when I teach a seminar that somebody came up with some twist on an idea that I taught them. Like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I've never been to an event that I didn't come away with something either during the event or meeting with the people in the hallways and in the lobby at night afterward. Always
Yeah.
some information.
And that's another good reason we don't record it, because a lot of people don't want to share that on video.
Yeah, for sure.
So sometimes you get people slipping and saying, I'll share with 40 people what I'm doing, but I'm not sharing it with the whole world.
Right.
I don't want to create competition for my great ideas and things we're doing. Yeah. So what are you seeing out there too? There's a lot of people now. I'm going to be as cordial as possible, teaching subject to on the internet and social media, people talking about it, and people, the blind leading the blind, so to speak. And I'm seeing a lot of bad contracts, a lot of bad deals, a lot of really poorly written up, structured subject to deals that they're learning from these internet clowns who really don't know what they're doing.
Right. Yeah, and that's something I talk to my students about a lot. It's really easy, especially for new investors, to get caught up in things that sound great on paper, but in practice, maybe they're not the best idea. I think what we really have to remember is, we all talk about one of the reasons we do what we do is to help people. Yeah. And some of these things you see in these contracts are not designed to help people. And some of the things that they're being taught to do. You can help a lot of people and make really, really insane money doing this.
And that's the great thing. I love helping people. I love people who I buy their house and I think I got the greatest deal in the world and they give me a hug.
That's right.
So it's not just about money. It's about solving people's problems. And of course you have to make money too. But if my rule about investing is I have to put the seller in a better place than I found them and make money. I got to do both. Right. If I don't make money, it's a charity. And if I don't put them in a better place, then I'm taking advantage, and I don't want to do that either. So I like to be win-win in that regard. Right. And just because I make money doesn't mean they didn't win.
Right.
They got what they wanted, which was out of a problem that no one else could solve, including their real estate agent.
Yeah. That's true. A lot of deals where the agent couldn't solve the problem. Well, they're not taught to think out of the box at all.
They're taught to fill out a contract.
Yeah.
And follow the rule.
Right.
that they created as a governing body. I've seen a lot of people used to not deal with real estate agents and brokers on subject to deals, and now I'm seeing a lot more brokers open to the idea that properties that are for sale in the MLS are fair game.
Right. Yeah, that's true. If they can't find a way to fix the problem and the seller's in trouble, a lot of times they'll call you up as an investor and say, "Hey, what can you do to help these people?"
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, all right. So, what's the one thing you want to really impress upon people watching about why they should drop everything they're doing and sign up right now for the Sub2 Summit and be there? Now, if your daughter's getting married that weekend, I'll give you a pass.
Right.
But other than that, make no excuses. Be there. If you really got to be there, because just a lot of the networking going on, even after hours, we're just hanging out in between sessions with people. Right. Maybe we'll even put a shotgun golf tournament together if we get enough golfers.
Sure.
There is a golf course across the street from the hotel.
So I'll tell you, as someone who's been to a lot of events over the past 25 years, and like I said at the beginning of this, Bill, I learned a lot of what got me started from you. Between the two of us, we've got almost 60 years of deal-making experience. And I mean, you're talking about coming out and seeing two guys that do this stuff still today, every single day. We're not talking to you about a deal we did 20 years ago. Right. These are relevant. These are this year, this month in this market.
Right. And if I count all the deals I've done, I'm an attorney, 32 years, and I also own an escrow company. So I close subject to deals that most title companies won't close.
Right.
So I've probably seen, I lost count, somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 transactions probably total.
Yeah.
somewhere in that range. I'd stopped counting.
Yeah.
But I've seen everything that can go right, and of course everything that can go wrong, and can teach you, what things to do and to do it right, and what things to avoid. And so could William with his vast experience of war stories, of things that went right and things that went wrong. Sometimes that you can learn to avoid and learn to do right. So it's only $497, that's not the issue. The issue is, are you willing to take a long weekend, either yourself and your family, to really get a learning experience and also have a lot of fun, not to mention that, but get a learning experience from two experts, like I said, with almost 60 years of experience, as opposed to some of these internet clowns who's, I don't even know if they've done a deal, or maybe they started doing it, 2 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, I know. And I made a post recently on Facebook about influencers and how it's important to know who is there to be an influencer and who's really there to teach. And I know both of us teach because we enjoy teaching and sharing with other people. There's just nothing like somebody sending you an email or a text or something saying, hey, you changed my life. You taught me how to do something that really changed my family's future. And
absolutely.
Because when you talk about deals and we talk about like the one I did earlier and some of the, the ones you've done, nobody's getting rich by selling an event for $500. Okay.
Right.
We're going out there. We have a good time. We love meeting people, and just sharing information. So,
right. That's what it's all about. I mean, do the math here. 40 seats at $500. We're not, minus all our expenses for this whole thing. We're not making a ton of money on this thing. We're doing it because we enjoy it, because we want to share our experience, our knowledge with other people, and influence other people's lives and affect their lives. And also, it's fun. It's fun. Yeah. I wouldn't do it if it wasn't fun. I like teaching. Right. And this is going to be a great experience because I've never done any event with you, William. So
that's right. Yeah. Been to a ton of your events, but never done one with you. So I was honored you asked. And
it's
a lot of forward to it.
Yeah, we're going to have to make sure we disagree on at least 3 or 4 things so we can argue.
Oh, I'm sure we will. I'm sure we will, because even though you taught me a lot of stuff, you're still an attorney. So I'm sure I'm going to disagree with you on some stuff.
Maybe I'm a little more conservative. Yeah, that's true. And that's, and everyone has their little twist and their way of doing things, which is fine. You hear the different perspectives and you make up your mind.
Yeah.
Like Fox News used to say, we report, you decide.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. So, just going over to sub2summit.com, sub2summit.com. And I'll leave you just with a parting word on this, in terms of why I think you should go, is because this could be a stepping stone for you in terms of learning new ideas. Even if you're experienced, you're going to learn something new. Even if we reminded you of something you forgot you already knew, so you can dust it off and use it. That's my attitude when I go to a seminar. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot that one. I should be using that one. It's worth it. If you're brand new and you're thinking you're going to be overwhelmed, hey, that's okay. You'll learn a lot, and you'll learn a lot from other people who are there. You'll make relationships with people who are there that could be great business opportunities for you. And it's, it's a cheap thing, and the flight is not terribly expensive either. The hotel is reasonable. It's just a matter of whether, how big is your excuse, right? How big is your, I was at a RIA meeting, and I saw a guy had a big banner that says, how big is your butt? B-U-T. But.
That's right. Yeah.
How big is your butt?
And I'll say this too, just so everybody knows, you're not going to be in a room full of newbies. We're actually having our students mastermind event simultaneously while we're there in the off time. So we're going to have, I know at this point right now, about a half dozen of my mastermind students that are going to be there. They're doing a lot of deals. So you're going to have a lot of experience in that room.
Absolutely. And the people I've seen sign up from my list already, they're definitely people. It's a range, some beginners, but definitely some people who are intermediate and more advanced full-time investors. So it's good to get a range. If you're a beginning investor, you could soak up knowledge from us and other people there. If you're a more experienced investor, you're still going to learn new ideas and make relationships and learn ideas from other high-level investors as well. So that's why I love going to these events, just to be around successful people. Jim Rohn used to say, if the 5 people you hang out with most is going to determine your financial future. You know, so you hang around with broke, miserable, you know, non-performing losers, or you want to hang out with doers, movers, and shakers?
That's right. Hey, and if you already know everything, it's still okay. Just come out, have a good time, and hang out with us because we're cool.
Yeah, if you know everything, then tell us, because we don't know everything.
That's right, because I learn every day. Sure.
Absolutely. All right, so sub2summit.com. Hopefully you're watching this earlier than later, and you still have room for you to sign up and get a hotel room as well. You know, I would encourage you to check your flights early. Now, by the way, if you call the hotel directly, the Marriott, they're going to say, what event? Because that every hotel does that. I don't know about you, but every hotel I've ever been to, they don't know about the events going on. The sales and catering department knows about the events. Right. So when you sign up, you're going to get an email with an 800 number to call direct to book your room in that department, or a link to click on online where you could sign up online and get the special rate, the special room. So if you call the main hotel, they're going to go like, what event? I don't know what you're talking about. So just the nature of the hotel business from experience. Yep. They're all like that. Yep. All right. Any parting words, William?
Just, hey, be there, be square.
That's right. That's right. All right. Thanks a lot, William. Appreciate your time and your willingness to share information. And I'll see you guys all in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico.
Thanks, Bill. We'll see y'all there. Bye-bye.